Sometimes you gotta work with what you got. Sometimes you gotta work with less. Welcome to a video written, edited, and partly recorded in airports and airplanes. I made this dress last week as part of the World War II sewing challenge hosted by these lovely folks. The challenge is to follow, as much as you can, the rationing guides that were in place in the UK during World War II. Originally, this was going to be a very different video. It was going to be finished and scheduled before I left Calgary so that I could keep on my release schedule and match the challenge deadline. That did not happen, so let's take a little inspiration from the challenge itself. As I spend the next 26 hours in 4 different airports, I will make do with the resources and limitations that are in front of me and make a video. This script was started on a 90-minute flight between Calgary and Vancouver at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time. What I had prepared before the flight: the dress and the footage of making it. I had not written a script, recorded reveal footage, or begun any kind of editing. For reasons that will be apparent in the next video, I decided to recreate this image from pinup artist Joyce Ballantyne. I found this pattern in an acceptable fiber at my local fabric store, which was very encouraging. Honestly, this drape could make anything look good. Trying to find a halter dress pattern with the deep sweetheart neckline and narrow straps was a challenge. Eventually I found this sweetheart summer dress pattern in one of Gertie's sewing books, which was a sufficient beginning. The 2 front pieces, after being sewn together, were gathered at the center front to create the sweetheart shape. However, the pattern calls for both a zipper and elastic for ruching at the back. To meet the criteria, I needed to make some changes. I wanted to keep the front as accurate as possible to the picture, so front buttons were out of the question. After some experimentation, I opted for ties at the back. I took the original back pattern piece, cut it into a kind of double triangle thing, and attached 4 long ties, 2 on each side. To match the picture, I initially made the straps narrow, and they probably would have worked fine if they had also been placed properly. Alas, I did not place them properly. They were not wide enough and created weird shapes out of my armpit and chest. But I'd already sewn them into the facing, and at this point in the process I was staring down a deadline for this video that was looking increasingly unlikely. So I made wider straps, and pulled the classic "I meant to do that" by attaching them to the front at a slight overlap with the narrower straps. I think the effect is quite pleasing. It was, however, not on purpose and happened entirely because I measured once and cut twice. I originally planned to sew the skirt to the front piece and have the back of the skirt unattached and fastened with a button. In the end, I chose instead to run a strip of bias tape along the back edge of the skirt and create very narrow fabric ties to use for a drawstring effect. There were limitations on pleating, but as a consummate nitpicker, I looked hard for details in respect to gathers, and only found information about all-round gathers on other garments, not dresses. While the spirit of rationing would probably frown upon gathering the skirt, I did find some excellent examples of clothing in museum exhibits about clothing rationing that included all-round gathers on the skirts of dresses, so I decided that this was a sufficient fudging of the rules. My hem sweep is exactly within the limitations. So many things happened to me over the course of this week, things that seemed designed to slow my progress or halt it entirely. My Janome sewing machine had to be set aside because of a repair issue. My 1924 Singer machine became my main and indeed only sewing machine. To write the script I originally wanted to write, I needed a book for research, which was not available online or at the library. It was delayed by an entire week and only arrived 2 days before departure. During this week, I also dipped back into a depressive episode, one of the more pronounced I've experienced in a while. I'm fine, this is just something that happens. I am well taken care of. So on the day of my flight, I had nothing except the raw footage and a book I hadn't read. But sometimes, you've just gotta make do. Douglas Adams once said, I love deadlines. I love the whooshing sound they make as they go by. This is not the video I wanted to make this week, but this is the one that I've made. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.